Hey everybody, welcome to Shifty's Club. Guys, I hope you guys, some of you at least, enjoyed the Magic the Gathering, package opening video where I'm opening up tons of Magic the Gathering cards from packages that were sent to me. I get that playset sleeved in penny sleeves by fours. Um, there we go, they fit. And now to the main event, my handy dandy blue notebook with property of Dan written on it. Let's see. Take some of this stuff out. And then, as you guys can see, I have tons of notes. This is literally at the end of the notebook, and those are just, sports betting notes. A lot of that is actually from live betting. I just kept figure notes. And literally I have like one page. And there's my last one. Those of you Magic players that somehow are still watching this, I've actually trying to get as close as I can to building the perfect modern deck. Well, that can't be beaten. Not having too much luck, but I am really working on it. Not gonna say what it is right now, but anyway, I've got some Pokemon notes that I want to share with everybody. As of play testing, doing a lot of online play testing, single solitaire setup testing, just to see if decks will actually set up enough times during solitaire testing, and I think that's a very important part of play testing is doing solitaire runs to make sure that the deck will set up itself either one or two turns, whatnot, because your opponent really has no control over what you can do as far as what cards you play. They really don't. I mean, other than, stuff like trainer lock or item lock now, like item lock, as, maybe a 10-15% chance of even running into that. Um, Judge is literally the only card that forces your opponent to shuffle, so I'm not even sure that's going to be noteworthy because Professor Sycamore is much better at setting up a field, or getting your hand ready to set up for some big stuff. But anyway, I have got notes. I haven't even gone over this part. I had an entire 4 pages full of jotting that I was going to use for the math behind building decks in Pokemon. That it can be generalized to Magic the Gathering as well, even though Magic hardly ever uses anything close to our system because all the cards are technically in the deck or in your hand to start with. So you have no prize cards. You have no chance of, actually having a card end up in a prize pile. So you can run one of and know you're going to get it. But I'll get through that some other time. But I have tried testing a lot of different decks. The closest I could get with Evil X, and people are always asking me how Evil X can possibly run best. And I tell them usually it's going to be a Zoroark with Floatstone and possibly one of the Break card. Obviously, you'd run Shaming EX to help set up, but Zoroark can kind of, help get you in and out of situations. The regular Evil would kind of set up some Darkness Energy a little. Now, the problem I had was Shadow Circle or Skyfield. Now, this is what really set me apart was that Shadow Circle really didn't mean too much to me because there was really no reason that I had to play Shadow Circle since I had the Zoroark in there as well that could attack. I mean, Zoroark itself can easily knock out an EX with the Sky Field, which is pretty cool. um, I mean, it's pretty great. Um, So I decided I'd go with Skyfield since there are advantages on both sides. There are massive advantages. Um, but also, Evil Tall EX really doesn't have anything to worry about except for Manectric EX. It's really the only thing. And Manectric EX really isn't that much of a threat, especially to something like Zoroark. It has really absolutely nothing that it can possibly do in that situation. Um, so I went with Skyfield, and then people again are probably wondering, well, do you run all float stone, a couple muscle band, or how's it work? 3 muscle band, 2 float stone. That's pretty ideal. I run 3 shaman, so it's kind of carries along. Um, I split darkness energy, double color synergy, and I don't even mess with dangerous energy. Most of us have figured out by now that dangerous energy is nothing that we really need to be playing around with because it literally does nothing to help. Your opponent can play around dangerous energy all day. Things like strong energy, your opponent can't play around unless they get rid of it because you're technically adding damage. Your opponent can control what they hit in some situations. So dangerous energy just really didn't seem necessary in solitaire or in online matches. Um, the supporters kind of looked a little weird. I maxed out Professor Sycamore, obviously. He's absolutely one of the most wonderful supporters we have in the game. And I have one-ups of Bridget, Lysander, Hexmanic, and AZ. They're just absolutely wonderful. And Shaman just runs through your entire deck with Skyfield in play anyway. You have Ultra Balls, VS Seekers, Trainer's Mail all maxed out. You have Acrobike, Enhanced Hammer, Head Ringer, and the Sacred Ash. I still prefer that over the Super Rod because Evil Talk can bring those back like it's nothing. So, of course, some people would be opt to play Super Rod, but you know, it's completely up to you, not me. Can't really get Darkness Energy with the regular Evil Tall from the deck, so. And I'm not going to give the exact list of pretty much any of these decks because you probably don't want my exact list. The next one is one that I've been trying to make discussions with on one of the YouTube channels. I had a video where someone was showing a copy of their Mega Mewtwo deck. Now, I was arguing, but I was explaining that some people think Mega Mewtwo is the best attacker we have in format, and I'm going to respectfully disagree. Mega Mewtwo is not the best attacker we have in format. I've heard multiple people say that, oh my gosh, 30 times the number of energy attached to both back to Pokemon. That is so great. Okay, flash. Mewtwo got taken over by Yveltal because Yveltal actually has an engine to run, whereas Mewtwo doesn't. Why does Mewtwo not have an engine? Because Mewtwo doesn't have Dark Patch, which brings Darkness Energy onto a Darkness Pokemon, which has Darkrai EX for free retreat, which can put itself back active after it gets the energy. So, but there is some way that I've figured out that it can run efficiently, but it's definitely not the best deck in format. The best way I can possibly run Mega Mewtwo, because everybody is wondering, is with Aromatisse and Octillery. Now, the reason why is because Aromatisse is one of those cards that have multiple benefits. Aromatisse can get energy to Mewtwo when it needs extra to attack, and take off of it when it doesn't need that many energy to attack. So either way, you may or may not need energy or take it off. So you can just basically move that freely. Another benefit is if you're using things like Super Scoop Up or AZ, you can move the energy, attempt to Super Scoop Up, or just play AZ, bring up the damaged Pokemon, and then put it back down. Of course, you'll probably already have another Mega on the field, and you'll play the EX, attach the Spirit Link, and next turn play down the Mega. And then, just keep going from there. Sorry, my lips are completely chapped up. Octillery keeps a steady draw support. It's absolutely wonderful to draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. People say it's not going to be as great, but look at Shaman. What is Shaman doing for us? Octillery can do this every single turn for 1 less card. Octillery is going to be a Claydol. Not, the Claydol, but, a Claydol. He's going to be good. And then the other one is Cernius. The regular Cernius, being able to search those out whenever you don't see pretty much any chance of any fairy energy coming into play anytime soon. But usually Mega Mewtwo can have 2 fairy energy on turn 2 and, just start attacking with only 2 energy, so. Of course, we got Shaman EX, Fairy Garden, Mewtwo Spirit Link. Obviously, we're running 8-4 split Fairy and double colorless, so most people wonder why double colorless is even in here. Well, obviously, you want to be able to maximize that attack force, so whenever you have to, you've got them. You get them right by your side, but I wouldn't mess with Wonder Energy, of course, because, Mewtwo's not a fairy type. And I actually see this one guy. He was like, dude, why aren't you running Wonder Energy? It made me crack up. But when I looked through his deck, I was like, okay, yeah, never mind. This guy's a rookie. I like 1 of every card. So it's like a commander Pokemon deck. Which I have actually done in competitive play and won in a tournament. Not won a tournament, but won in a tournament. I was just joking around that time. This is the Battle Roads. This deck for Professor Sycamore, for Bridget, this is kind of a weird split, but Aromatisse, Octillery, they really need this. I mean, really need it. And usually, Cernius can be one of your targets with this, where you can target Spritzy, Remoraid, and Cernius. Possibly have the Mewtwo EX already down. And of course, if you don't need all 3 of them, you can just pull Mewtwo EX. Or Shaman EX, it's a possibility. 1 of AZ Hexmanic, Lysanders all. And then 4s of Ultra Ball, V-Seeker, Trainer Smell, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm not going to go through that entire run through. The deck's not absolutely the most wonderful, but, it's got potential. Then you got the next deck. This one seems to be a toss-up. It'll work if the format calls for decks specifically that don't specifically target this deck. Then this deck will probably have a pretty clear shot of being able to take home a few titles and city championships. As long as they're standard. If they're not standard, they don't have a shot in the dirt at taking down Metal Quaza or Cobalion Aegislash. There's no way. But it's, if you haven't guessed, it's Mega Glalie. Or Glalie. With Octillery and Shaman EX. And I decided I'd put in a Regice because, there's sometimes when I could actually make that work, believe it or not. Usually it's when I'm going against a Giratina matchup. Anyway, also have Team Magma's Hideout, clearly Spirit Link, I've nothing but Water Energy. Sycamore, Fan Club. I decided to go with Fan Club because you really don't need more than two Octillery on the field at a time, so. And I run a 3-3, so. Man, sometimes you don't have the Glalie or Glalie EX, so that's pretty good. AZ Lysander Hexmaniac, ones of get Ultra Ball via Secret Trainer Spell, Acrobike, Mega Turbo Switch. There's a couple cards that you could, argue should be in there, but basically some of the cards I don't feel really need to be in that deck. I'm going to try to run through this a little faster. Another deck that seemed to have some pretty unique success was Machamp EX Ariados with Landorus and Octillery. Now this was fun. I actually beat a guy who was running the Mega Mewtwo, and he thought, how the heck could you possibly have Machamp beating Mega Mewtwo? And I told him, do you not see the Lysanders that were played perfectly? I played those games perfectly against them. 2 games I played against them. Won both. I didn't make a mistake. So, um, Fighting Stadium, Muscle Band, Strong Energy, Fighting Energy, Sycamore, Bridget, AZ, Lysander, Hexmaniac, Ultra Ball Via Seeker, Energy Switch, Acrobat, Trainer Smell Switch. Yeah, so, yeah. And this next deck, I actually did think of this beforehand, but this is basically what I, kind of came up with, but I wanted to make sure that I had a chance. And then some of you who know Sugiyashi Yamato, he kind of wanted to try to play around with this deck, and I thought it was pretty cool. Megon Frost, Vileplume, Archie Swampert. I wanted to put just Archie Swampert in there, but he originally wanted to run an extended format Mega Manectric Archie Swampert. That way Archie Swampert could just find stuff, and I thought it was brilliant because you could basically just have it on the bench, bring a laser, or if you need the Verbank, if you need that enhanced hammer, it's all at your disposal with just one Pokemon, which is awesome. I mean, like, I lost deadly to it, but that's just because, it's a great player. But Mega Ampharos, Vileplume, Swampert, the Shaymin X, of course, Force of Giant Plants, Umbra Spirit Link, you have Lightning Energy, Double Colorless Energy, Ultra Ball, Level Ball, Trainer Mail, Pal Pad, Super Rod, and Reserve Ticket. Most people are wondering how I could possibly run that many items in a Vileplume deck, and the reason why, or how I can, is because Vileplume sets up after half the deck is run through, which means my item card's already used up at that point to set up Vileplume, pretty much set up the entire field. And then you just got your regular supporters that, any deck would use, just more of them. So it actually does work, guys, believe it or not. And here's another really, really good concept. For some reason, I was able to make this work. Cernius EX with, Cernius with Aromatisse and the Huntail and Shaman EX. Now, imagine what Rainbow Energy can do in situations. Basically, like, you can have that one water and then have some of these water units just water here, water here, water here, water here, and then you'd have the Rainbow Energy going. Now, think about that. I mean, obviously, Enhanced Hammer's going to kill you sometimes, but it was very fun to play. I actually did win a couple games. EXP share was deadly with those water energies because, you get knocked up. Oops, sorry. I have EXP share. Boom. And then, just Fairy Garden, Sycamore Judge, AZ, Hexmaniac, Lysander. Pretty simple. Another one would be going back to a deck that I thought was, absolutely amazing. And I'll show you a different variation of it later without Vileplume, or I'll tell you about it. Skeptile EX with Shaman, Vileplume, Ariados, Sycamore, AZ, Lysander, pretty thick line of those three. It's a 4-3-3. Then you got Acrobite, Reserve Ticket, Trainer Smell, Ultra Ball, Pow Pad, Super Rod Switch, Muscle Band, Force Giant Plants, Grass Energy. Those were pretty good, pretty solid line. Another Vileplume list was just Vileplume Miltank and 2 of each Articuno. Now, most people online were asking me, what the heck is this? And I thought, well, I thought Articuno's success would make Archie's buy, so I thought, let's see if I can make this work with Vileplume. And a lot of people were pissed off just being stopped and me taking like 2 prizes on the regular or 3 on an EX. They were absolutely just furious that they couldn't set up. Miltank was taking 2-hit knockouts like nothing. But when Articuno came on the scene, you put up a basic, or sorry, a non-EX Pokemon, whew, time to feel some pain. Force of Giant Plants, Muscle Band, Water Energy, Acrobike, Reserve Ticket, Trainer's Mail, Ultra Ball, Level Ball, Palpad, Super Rod, Sycamore, Z Lysander, regular stuff. I know I'm kind of just listing stuff off, but yeah, that's basically what I got. Another deck I tried was Trevenant. This one actually seemed to be the best deck that I've run in a long, long time. But I'm going to give you guys the good version later instead of this one, because this one's just crap. Let's see, because I kept going through that list. I kept going through it. Let's see. Well, there's that. I also tried, I won't go through the list. It was just a nice idea. This promo Sableye that comes in the breakthrough 3-pack blister. I've tried the Sableye and the Celebi. The Sableye, if you can flip heads, it works definitely. I ran it with just pretty much everything: Lucario, Yveltal, everything. I also tried to run a thicker Machamp EX line with Ariados, Octillery, and Zoroark. Didn't work quite as well as it did without Zoroark, because Machamp will never get out of the active spot. Another really cool list was Minshao in Evolution. That was fun. Because, I mean, fighting already takes out, what, 2-3 types? So, I mean, like, depending, it'll take out normal, lightning, and darkness, so. But, take that with, fire types for grass types, water type for, fire, and then lightning type for those normal Pokemon who are resistant to fighting, so. And then also another deck that I had was Seismitoad Shaman. Everybody knows what this does, but this one included Empoleon. And everybody should know what Archie's Ace in the Hole does, but Empoleon, when you play it, or when you have it on the bench, your basic Pokemon's attacks do 20 more damage. Meaning Seismitoad does more damage with Empoleon on the bench. Now, when I looked at Empoleon, I thought, okay, this is happening. I'm like, Seismitoad is finally going to... I didn't look on a single forum for this one. This one just came through my head. No one seems to have this deck listed in the forum anywhere. It's like no one even thought of it. But I'm sure like someone somewhere did, but I ended up throwing a really weird list with that. I will share this one though, because this one actually did win over half its games, so this one's pretty good. This was Celebi, the 3-pack Plum Blister that I was talking about, but I ran it with the Flash Fire Meowstic. Celebi, its ability says, whenever this Pokemon's knocked out, you may flip a coin of heads, shuffle Celebi and all cards attached to it in your deck, and your opponent cannot take a prize card for it. That was pretty cool. With Meowstic, basically, when I get enough damage counters on the board, which Celebi's attack for 1 grass energy puts a damage counter on each of your opponent's Pokemon in play. Meowstic can basically just rearrange those damage counters and do massive amounts of damage. So the smart players who play, Game 2, Game 3, though, but it would never come to that on the TCGO like it would in real life. Because anybody who's playing in real life, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm just going to have 1 or 2 Pokemon total out because there's no way I'm going to leave this thing to rot. And they know, like, that's literally half my strategy, so. It didn't work out that well as far as, best 2 of 3, in real life. But on the TCGO, Some people were like, what in the world? Um, let's see. Oh, this one was fun. This is a standard list right here. This was fun. This was a Toxicroak EX Dragalge Crobat. So basically, Toxabats. Um, Toxic Bats is Toxicroak putting 3 damage counters on a poison Pokemon, and it takes 3 damage counters. Dragalge refuses to let him retreat, and Crobat basically just keeps putting damage counters on the bench. This one, the only problem with this one was that some players could, just easily get out of this with, Float Stone. I mean, there was too many Pokemon with Float Stone running around, and too many Pokemon like Min Shao. For some reason, that deck got popular overnight. And then you have Gengar Trevenant, who would absolutely obliterate this deck. So I decided, you know what? Not worth it. Anyway, here's the deck that I decided to use instead of my Gardevoir deck that everybody knows about. I showed you guys on the online. I decided that instead of Gardevoir, it was going to be the Cernius EX variant instead, because this deck seems to be able to set up a lot easier and be able to heal and pretty much make adjustments much faster, and it can do some pretty evil things. Um, but it's based. I'll give you this list though, because it might be one of my decks for the city championships. Who knows? And it's definitely going to change probably because there might be 1 or 2 cards that I need to throw in or out. Anyway, 3 Cernius EX, 3 Ormatisse, 4 Cernius, 3 Hard Charm, 3 Fairy Garden, 8 Fairy Energy, 4 Sycamore, 2 Lysander, 3 Z. I forgot about the 2 Shaman. That's at the bottom of the list. I had to add one. 4 VS Seekers, Ultra Balls, Trainers Mails, Reserve Tickets, 3 Super Scoop Ups, 2 Enhanced Hammer, and a Super Rod. Of course, that's pretty standard for me, though. And then I come over here. This one seemed to be a pretty weird deck. It didn't do as well as I was just joking around with some guys, and I told them, you know what, I'm going to enter a tournament with this just to be stupid. But I played 3/3 Mega Mewtwo, 1/2/2 Zoroark, 2 Shaman and a Hoopa, 4 Sycamore, 2 Judge and Lysander, 1 Giovanni's and Hex, 2 Silent Lab and Parallel City both, 4 Via Seeker and Mega Turbo, 3 Battle Compressor, Trainer's Mail, Ultra Ball, Mewtwo Spirit Link, 2 Float Stone, 4 DCE, and 6 Darkness. That was one of mine that I was like, okay, yeah, this might actually be kind of fun. So, let's just say it didn't do as well as I thought it would. Of course, it has potential, but Aromatisse just makes it so much better. Now I just gotta get around all this Magic the Gathering that I've got here. Oh yeah, here is the one I was going to explain to you guys. This is the Trevenant Gengar deck that I believe has the best potential chance. Man, it looks like this whole notebook looks like crap. It's about the end of the notebook, so I figured I'd at least share notes before I swap notebooks, as I will be putting this in a file and starting fresh. So some of my notes will be, be coming back. Anyway, 3/3 Trevenant, 3 Gengar, 3 Shaman, and Mr. Mime. Of course, everybody knows why. I'm not giving up Gengars for the world. And you ain't throwing Raichu EX with a wide lens. I was like, dadgummit, Siggy. He's a brilliant man to think of that. there was a Magnezone EX. I'll get to this in a second. He thought about using a Mulga EX with Magnezone EX, moving the energy, and then using Magnezone EX with a wide lens. After Team Magma's hideout's down, daggum thing will hit 2 Shamans for 50 times 2 for weakness thanks to wide lens each, knocking them out on the bench. And a lot of a lot of decks run, like to have 2, 3, even 4 Shaman. So I'll get to that later, though. We have 4 Floatstone. I don't run Muscle Band. I really don't see any point in running Muscle Band. It just takes up a little too much room. There is a 4-Dimension Valley. I ended up playing 4 instead of 3 because I just absolutely cannot afford Dimension Valley to not be on the field. Because 2 energy as opposed to 3 is huge. And if it's a energy crush deck, it's brutal that I have that stupid Dimension Valley up because I've got to have 2 energy and I can't afford not have something like that on when, it requires 3 energy to attack. Another thing would be the very, very weird supporter line. 2 AZ, 2 Lysander, 2 Sycamore with 4 Wally. Now, 4 Wally's obvious. I mean, obvious that I want to get Wally out and try to get Trevenant moving really fast. Good old T. And I really didn't see any point in putting a whole bunch of supporters in there. Obviously, you have to max out Wally, but I want to make sure that I have AZ Lysander and Professor Sycamore every game at least once. If I can discard them in any way, like I can pretty much just draw through them with Shaman and all my trainers and pretty much just discard them via Secret them later when I need them. So, yeah. But getting the trainers, 4-level ball, reserve ticket, trainers ball, ultra ball, and via Sig are all, and then a super rod. And then 4 psychic and mystery each. So pretty weird spread, but this deck seemed to have the most success out of any variant that I've had. It really seemed to work. Now, there's one more deck I want to talk about. This one is pretty much the only one that I can get to, kind of sort of work around everything that we have. Basically, it can be used in both standard and extended. Skeptile, Ariados, no Vileplume. So basically, the Pokemon lines look exactly the same. 4 Skeptile, 3/3 Ariados, 3 Shaman, and a Mr. Mime. That's pretty given. 8 Grass Energy, same. 4 Muscle Band, same. Still uses the same Super Rods, Super Scoop Up, Hex Maniac, 1, 2, 1, respectively. I have 4 Sycamore, 2 AZ, 2 Lysander, a Fan Club, and a Sarosic in the standard. I have 3 Sycamore, and a Colress, 2 AZ, 2 Lysander, and a Sarosic in the extended one with no Fan Club. And some people are wondering, oh, you play 1-on-1 on the other, why wouldn't you, I'm not going to listen because, in some decks, I would say, probably. But in this one, I am opting for the other draw supporter, which I can use, but I still want to use Sycamore if I can get it. Really, this deck does not need too much. The extended version runs Burbank City Gym, of course. And there's a lot of people who, for some reason, were online wondering why I didn't play Laser. Like, there's like 3 people. I'm thinking 3 people who are asking me why Hypnotoxic Laser is not in a deck with Ariados. How stupid do people have to get? Weird. Anyway, the trainer lines, pretty much the same. I could have opted Pokemon Communication for Ultra Ball, but I decided, with only 14 Pokemon in that deck, there's no reason I should play Communication, because that means a fourth of the deck is Pokemon. Probably a fifth to a sixth of the deck is still going to be remaining. My hand is probably going to be down to 3 or 4 cards, meaning one, if any, Pokemon are going to be in it. So I didn't feel Communication was necessary. Ultra Ball seems to be the way to go because it can be used in pretty much every single situation. So 4 of each: Acrobatic, Reserve Ticket, Transmute, Ultra Ball, via Seeker, all there. That's pretty much it. Now, the thing with the Sceptile EX deck on the standard format was there's so many different stadiums that you can use, and I've tested with all of them, but all of them seem to do pretty much the same thing. You really don't need the Force of Giant Plants, because Ariados really is not truly needed in this deck in a sense of being out turn 1, because Sceptile has no way to accelerate its energy count to get up to 2 energy and use Ariados on turn 1, or no logical useful way to do so in the standard format. Of course, there are 3 ways that you can potentially do it, but all of them would require so much room and so much pure luck. But I figured the extended list looks a lot better. With no Vileplume, it literally opens the door for like every single situation. Like, pretty much takes Sceptile doing 60 plus 70 with a Muscle Band is 150, and then with the extra 20 damage with or 30 damage with Poison thanks to Verbeek City Gym is 180. That's a knockout on every EX for 2 energy in the extended format. And I'm thinking, yeah, this is probably going to be my list. This is a great extended format deck. But my Darkrai Yveltal deck seems to be so much more successful. And this one is literally like 5 cards away from being literally Frank Diaz's list. I didn't even really know it until I came across it. I thought, wow, this guy, no, we really think the same. But anyway, mine pretty much just has Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick, which is basically, teched for the breakthrough format. It has Maxie's with Gallade, which I find to be very, very good inside of Yveltal. If you don't run Gallade instead of, or Maxie's Gallade inside of Yveltal, you are missing out, literally. I have that. I got some reserve ticket, which I may or may not take them out. I really don't know. But anyway, just 1 Maxi. I have a Gallade, 3 reserve tickets, so literally 5 cards away from his list. So, but anyway, that's pretty much it. And I'm sure all of you don't want to sit here and listen to every single card I have in my Magic the Gathering modern deck jot list. Well, some of you do, but I can't really tell because, I want to wait until I get ready to use it at probably a Grand Prix or a Pro Tour main event, so that'd be pretty cool. But anyway, guys, that's my second episode. It's 40 minutes. I know. I apologize for making it that long. Those of you who hung in there with me, man, I wish I could give you guys a grand prize. I guess the grand prize is expanded knowledge. That's it. Now you guys kind of know what I think about some of these decks in format. A couple of concepts seem to draw more attention than others based on how they play in specific situations. Of course, a lot of different formats have different decks that run better in one than in another. For example, you're going to see in Japan, you're going to see players running these crazy Maxie's Galley decks with Crobat, not even caring a thing in the world about any other basic Pokemon but Zubat and Wobbuffet. Absolutely zero care in the world, which, I mean, I can understand, but, from a perspective, I don't think it's a great deck. I just don't think it's great. But let me get back to what I was telling you about. Oh, 40 minutes. You guys were wondering what I was talking about probably when I was talking about Suguyashi Yamato with the Emolga EX and Magnezone EX. Okay, so here's how the story goes. You have a Phantom on the bench, Wally to Trevenant. Okay, you have a Lightning Energy on Emolga, Magnezone on a bench with a wide lens probably. Okay, Emolga gets an energy out and puts it onto it. When it does, it switches out for Trevenant. Trevenant trainer locks the opponent. Now, what happens is you get into a Magnezone energy switch. In an energy switch, so you pretty much just max out your energy switch. So you try to find 2 energy switch, get another lightning energy on to Magnezone. Your Team Magnus hideout should be in play, and hope that they have the shamans down that you want. And usually decks that have 2 shaman on the bench have this 20 damage, and they're thinking, okay, Emolga, how is this gonna work? And like there's got to be something going on with Emolga. Anyway, he is a brilliant man. Did he literally hit 50 times 20, be 100 to each of those shaman, knocking both of them out. 4 prizes. He is already up 4 freaking prizes. I mean, he's amazingly smart. I give him that. Of course, some of the decks, I really don't agree with, but of course, Florges Vileplume was probably by far his most brilliant deck, unless it's Mega Manectric Archie Swampert in Extended, which I've already heard like 2 people say, "Oh, I'm definitely trying that out for City Championships if they have Extended." Some people are saying Standard, and I asked him. He said it would not work in our Standard format, basically because we don't have a whole variety of cards that can force it to work so much better in those situations that we'd come across than in the Extended format, because of the vast array of cards that we have and the ability to run 1 or 2 of them to get Archie Swampert out. So guys, now I'm officially gonna let you go with like 43 minutes of video. I apologize guys. I just had to cover that last one. But anyway, I'll make this quick. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. Post any comments you have in the comment section down below. There, approved, I'll post them. If you have anything not related to the video, shoot me an email out shifty14326@gmail.com. And I'll see you. Hope you guys had as much fun as I've had, and I'll see you guys next time at Shifty's Club.